jump on in. So everybody welcome up Pastor Tristan.
Thanks, Bree. How do you know if you're being called to go on a mission trip? I get that question a lot. I just don't know if I'm called to go on a mission trip. Matthew 28, 18 through 20. And Jesus came and said to them, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father. Oh my gosh, was that a spider? Oh, it's a big boy. Oh, holy moly. Would you give me money if I ate it right now? Just, Be free, little friend. No, it's going to freak people out if they're up here. No one's going to pay attention. We're just going to put them all the way outside. Be free. He's out. He's going out into all the world, telling people about the name of, telling fellow spiders. That was terrifying. You guys, I heard like whisperings. You saw it, didn't you? Woo, okay. All right. Go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you, and behold, I am with you always to the end of the age. So there you go. You're called. There's your calling. You've been called to go on mission trips, to go and serve locally at something like Share Jesus at the waterfront, and then globally on mission trips. So the default for our community and my heart for it, if you were here last week, you know that mission trips were a huge part of my story, where I felt like that was actually where I had stepped out of the boat and felt like the Lord was actually able to like speak and work and use me in ways that I was not ready for or prepared for, and put a calling over my life. And he wants to do the same thing in your life. But I am going to be honest with you. Young adults are so hesitant to go on mission trips, and it is so frustrating. It's so frustrating when I'm like, man, this is like, I just want our whole young adult community to just be so rallied and so fired up to go. And then there's so many things that keep you from going, right? There's a lot of reasons. It's scary. A lot of people haven't been out of the country before. The cost of things, which we raise support for. So that's not even an excuse. But time off of work, y'all are trying to like hustle and you just can't take like a full week off of work. But I promise you, when you step out of the boat, the Lord will do incredible things in your life, and it will be absolutely worth it. And all of those things that you worried about, you realize that was not a concern at all. So today, specifically, we've been in our series of the greatest story ever told, and people have been coming up and sharing their stories of how the Lord has worked in their life. And tonight, like Bree said, we get to talk about the Tijuana mission trip that happened in July. And I'm just letting y'all know now, so you don't have the excuse of not having enough advance. We're going to Tijuana next summer as a young adult community. So we're doing that. You're going. I'm going. As long as my treatments are all right. That's why I wasn't able to go this past year. But we're going, and we're going to continue going. And it's going to be the thing that we do. And it's going to be weird if you don't go. That's going to be the thing that's like, wait, what? You haven't been on a mission trip? That's crazy. Because I know right now it's the opposite. That many of you haven't been. So it is my heart, my vision for us to do that as a community. And there's also other trips besides Tijuana, if you don't want to go to Tijuana for some reason. But they're going to Hermosillo. If you're like ready to go this year, there's a trip in October that you can go to. You can sign that up on our Crossroads Church website. There's a trip to Japan that's coming up in the end of fall. So y'all, there's trips. Like, we're doing trips all the time. So sign up for one, step out of the boat. But enough from me. Y'all are going to hear from the amazing people that went on this trip. This isn't all of them. This is just kind of a snapshot. And they're going to give kind of mini testimonies, if you want to call them, about what the Lord did, although there's nothing small about what the Lord does, no matter how long you share. But there's going to be multiple of them. There's 5 of them. They all have kind of small stories to share. And so we're going to welcome them up one by one, hear their story, and then hear the next one. So to start off the night, will you please give me a warm welcome for Rachel James? Come on up here, Rachel. Here's your mic. Go get them.
Well, hi. How are you? So it's kind of interesting the way we started off talking about Martha and Mary. Thank you. I think it was Joey who brought that up. This was my first mission trip ever to go on. And for years, we've been talking about going, wanting to go. And there was every excuse in the book why we couldn't go or shouldn't go, or finances and family and all the different things. We finally were able to get ourselves to be able to go. I was worried about the finances. Silly me. Silly me. In like 24 hours, it was taken care of. No problem. So then, of course, the build up to the trip and all the different things that you have to do with work and family to get yourself prepared. I was a little anxious about it. And then the week before, it just disappeared. And no anxious, no worries. Got on the plane, met all of our friends, and we didn't really know a lot of them. We didn't really know them. But as we got on the plane, as we were being goofy and funny, we just felt it just fell right into sync together. So as we get to Tijuana and we're learning our area, and we got there on a Saturday. Sunday, we go to church, and church in Tijuana is just like church here. You come in, everyone is excited to see you. You're singing 3 songs. There is, it's a lot of the same thing, the same songs, everything. I don't even speak Spanish, but I understood exactly what was going on and the songs, and I'm singing it in my head. So as we get out there, the last couple of service, we were asked to serve. A couple of us didn't really know what to do, and so a team member had some cards that she had brought that had English on one side and Spanish on the other side, cards that she wanted to hand out. So she went over and she started handing them out to people as they were coming in. And I'm just standing there, and I thought, I need to do something. I don't know what to do. So I thought, I'll just go help her. So we're passing out cards and just saying hello to people. And as we kind of end our time and their next service is starting, we walk out to the main road. Sorry, I got that spreader in my mind, and I'm thinking it's crawling on me. We go out to the main road, and this gentleman walks up. And mind you, in Tijuana, there's a lot of homeless people. And it's not like homeless that you see here. It's a different level of homelessness. And he comes up, and everyone is kind of ignoring him. And he's singing and wanting to talk. And I have no idea what he's saying. And me and the other team member were just standing out there, and we just engage in conversation with him. Luckily, Josh is with us, and Josh speaks some Spanish. And so we're saying, hey, can you translate for us? And so he's sharing with us, and here I am excited to go out and spread the gospel, tell people about Jesus. And here this man comes and starts singing and telling me about Jesus and how he's homeless, but he loves Jesus. And he sings and goes to other homeless camps and shares the word of Jesus. And I just thought to myself, this is not going to go how I expected it to go. I had a vision in my mind of what it looked like for me to go to Tijuana to share. I had this idea of what that looked like, and I was wrong. Jesus had another plan, and it was for me to sit and listen, but also serve at the same time. So during our trip, that was just kind of that right from the get-go, smack in my face, saying, hey, just like the song, slow down, listen, and serve. You can do both, but you need to listen. So for me, that was really kind of the start of the trip that I knew would be unexpected and full of beauty and growth and understanding for me that I'm not in control. Something else greater than me is. So I urge you, I love that the young adults is going downtown. And I urge you, if you have not started to serve by discipling outside your own community, I urge you to do that. It is such a blessing, and oftentimes it blesses somebody else and also you just as much as who you're trying to bless or feel like you're trying to bless. So I just urge you to go.
Let's hear it for Rachel. Thank you, Rachel. And you guys are going next year, right? You guys are locked in. Okay, yeah, so you get to go with them. All right, thank you for that word. Medea is next. Medea, come on up, girl. She's coming. She's going to share her story, and she's going to crush it. So here you go.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Medea. I'm just going to jump right into it. So a few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to go on my very first mission trip to Tijuana. Going into it, I was excited, but I was also nervous because I had no idea what to expect. Looking back now, I can confidently say that God used this trip to change my heart in ways I had never imagined. But what many people don't know is that before the trip even started, I was under so much spiritual attack. It felt like the enemy was coming after me and my family from every direction. I was filled with doubt, fear, and questions. I remember crying out to God saying, Lord, I know that you didn't bring me this far just to leave me. So why am I going through all of this only 2 days before the trip? I was questioning if I was supposed to go at all. I was allowing the enemy to fill my mind with lies. Then, out of nowhere, James 1, verse 2 and 3 came to my mind. So I opened my Bible and read it. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness. In that moment, I knew that was God speaking to me. He was reminding me that the attack wasn't a reason to stay home. It was a reason to keep going. My faith was being tested, and I had a choice to listen to fear or to trust God, so I chose to trust him. Looking back now, I'm so thankful that I did. One of the biggest things God showed me on this trip was that his church has no boundaries. It doesn't matter what country we come from, what language we speak, or what our culture looks like. We're all one body in Christ. We had the opportunity to serve alongside Iglesia Ancla and meet families who may not have had many of the things we often take for granted. Yet they welcomed us with so much joy, kindness, and generosity. Their hearts challenged me and changed the way I look at what it means to be blessed. They reminded me that joy isn't dependent on what we have. True joy comes from knowing Jesus and having him in our lives. God also worked in me through the people I went with. Before this trip, many of us didn't know one another. Throughout the week, we laughed together, we cried together, we prayed together, served together, and became vulnerable with one another. By the end of the trip, they truly felt like family. It reminded me that God grows us through community and that we're never meant to walk through it alone. One moment that has stayed with me ever since happened on one of the last days. We had been serving all day with the mobile showers, kitchen, and handing out supplies. As we were packing everything up, I noticed a man walking around. There was just something about him that stood out to me. Someone from our team, Dee Dee, walked over to him, and as I watched, I heard God say one simple word to me, go. So I did. As I walked up to him, I noticed he had 666 tattooed on his forehead. And if I'm being honest, it was intimidating. But instead of fear, I felt an overwhelming sense of peace. I introduced myself and asked his name. His name was Raphael. I asked if he would like one of the bracelets with a Bible verse on it, and he smiled and said yes. We asked if we could pray for him, and he let us. During our conversation, Raphael told us that he wasn't a follower of Jesus. He said he respected other people's beliefs, but then he said something that broke my heart. He said, all I've ever wanted is for someone to walk alongside me. I just want a friend. I looked at him and said, Jesus can be that friend. He's the one who will never leave you. Then I invited him to church. He looked at me and said, but I have all these tattoos. I smiled and said, so do I. You come as you are. You don't have to change anything about yourself before coming to Jesus. He loves you exactly as you are. That moment reminded me that so many think that they have to clean themselves up before they can come to God. And I used to be one of them. But that's not the gospel. Jesus meets us exactly where we are, and he transforms us from the inside out. I didn't end up seeing Raphael at church, and honestly, I was a little sad. But God reminded me that my job wasn't to save him. My job was simply to be obedient. Sometimes obedience looks like planting a seed and trusting God to make it grow. I still pray for Raphael. I pray that every time he looks at that bracelet, he remembers that someone stopped, cared for him, prayed for him. It reminded him that Jesus loves him. I pray that God continues growing that seed that was planted that day. If I had listened to the fear and doubt before this trip, I would have missed that moment completely. This trip reminded me of Isaiah 6:8. Here I am, send me. I went to Tijuana thinking I was going to change someone else's life, but God ended up changing mine. He reminded me that he isn't looking for perfect people. He's looking for willing hearts. Sometimes all he asks of us is one simple act of obedience. So if you've ever felt God calling you to something, but fear has been holding you back, I want to encourage you not to let fear have the final say. The enemy will always try to make you question what God has called you to do, but God is faithful. Some of the greatest moments of your faith may be waiting on the other side of your obedience. Thank you.
Come on. Oh, so good. I remember Medea and I having a conversation as we were like talking about the Tijuana trip, and she's like, I think I'm gonna go. And it was this total, like, you could feel that like stepping out moment. And so I'm so proud of you, girl. Good job. That was awesome. All right, next up is Josh Paulson. Please give Josh a big round of applause. Go get him, buddy.
Hey guys, how you doing? Awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna pull out my phone because that's where my notes are. I know, I don't have the best memory, so. Let's start off with this verse. This looks good. 1 John 4:12. No one has ever seen God, but if we love each other, God lives in us, and his love is brought to full expression in us. So I'm going to tell you a little story so I can tell you another one, and I'll keep it really quick. I'm going to tell you about Samty. I met Samty for the first time this trip when we were over at, it's called ZN Red or Zone Red. It's in an area where prostitution is prevalent, and it's a form of slavery. That's really what it is. They are an outreach place where they send people out to connect with the poor in the area, but they do so much more. They connect with the kids. They do like church for them and stuff on Sundays. It's a whole thing. Long story short, I got things switched, but that's okay. We'll keep with Zone Red. They shared something with us before we started serving food and water to the homeless. They have a whole system and everything. It's amazing. And that was that, whoa. Okay, so hold on a sec. It was that we weren't there just to serve. We weren't there just to like tell them about Christ. A lot of them had already heard about Christ, but what they didn't have was somebody say, hi, what's your name? How are you? The connection. In other words, they had the words, but they didn't have the person being Christ to them. And so that kind of hit me a little bit, and I'm like, okay, I can do this. You know, we had worship, one song, and then we're like, whew, okay, I can't go out there like this, that sort of thing. But we go out there, I start shaking everybody's hand. Hi, how are you doing? We had those cards from the teammate on our, trip who made those, so we're handing those out too. Bracelets, high fives, really connecting with everybody down there. One guy says, you guys say a lot, but you don't listen. And I was like, okay. I wonder where this is going. And he proceeded to rant until somebody says, hey, but, came up to talk to him mid-sentence. I was just letting him talk it out, And somebody says, yeah, but what about God? God is good. God is here, that sort of thing. Kind of calmed him down a little bit. But it stuck with me because it's not always like the moments where you think, whoa, I felt something heavy and deep. This must be a God moment. Sometimes it's just the weird little things in life, the things that are just average. This is my second trip. So I'd already done a lot of the things. And I was figuring, okay, what am I going to bring today? I'm going to bring something, to this trip. And I was kind of a blank. And I was like, whoa, okay, now what do I do? I'm supposed to bring a word. I'm supposed to have a devotional or something, but nothing. And I had to stop, and it's kind of like you guys said, which I was kind of surprised that your stories went this way. But I had to be still and listen. Kind of like Elijah, right? He's waiting in a cave. This is after the big whole thing with the fire and the altars and all that stuff. And he's waiting for God so he can talk to God. God comes by and he causes things to happen. He says there's like a great wind, but it says God wasn't in it. There's an earthquake, same thing. Fire, all these big crazy things, but he wasn't in it. And then it says Elijah heard a still small voice, and that was God. And then he stepped out of the cave and talked with God. And I was kind of like, I need to pay attention to the little things. The things that are in between all the go, back and forth, all of the ministry stuff we were doing. And be there, be present. So yeah, I'm going to jump here. This is one thing I want to make sure that before I wrap up that I don't miss. And it's this. Jesus was not a tourist. He came to meet with you and me. He didn't seek the best things or epic experiences or emotional moments. He sought us out. He cared. He was God, and he knew it, but he was also one of us. And a moment with him can be life-changing. That's the God moment right there. And so sometimes you'll be doing something, and you're just doing your thing, but it speaks to somebody, and we don't even know it. We're just casting seed out. And you might not even see that moment, but God knows it, and he's always using those things to work for the future. The second story, I have 1 minute left. I know I have 1 minute left. Here we go. Ready? Here we go. So Samti's pretty awesome. He is one of the youth over there. And when I say youth, it means like high school and even a little bit like young adults. It's a big glob of kid people. And my goodness, the passion. The passion is huge. How do I explain this? There was like a group of guys that I got to meet, and every once in a while, because, soccer was still kind of going, their team had lost, but they were still saying, okay, what's next? And so it was really hot. So the guys were like, okay. They would pick a guy, and they say, he wants to fly, right? And they would grab him and launch him in the air and catch him. And it was just the thing that happened every once in a while. It's just kind of come to that. And so I got involved. Yeah, I know. Liability. But that's okay. It was great. It was a lot of fun. I got to get real close with the guys there in that group. If you come on a trip, you have to meet them. I have a whole bunch of names here, but it'll be your own experience. Here's the cool thing. Another place where I was at, Casa Cela, we were praying for a team to go out and connect with, this is the same zone, right? Connect with the prostitutes so that way they could get a care package, come to the cafe, have a cup of coffee, talk with somebody, find a way out, right? And while we're there, they send out that team, and it has to be women, maybe a couple guys to make sure everybody's safe, but the women are the only ones who are really allowed to talk to the other women. Rest of us are there at the cafe. And it might be in the reels up here. Every once in a while it pops up. There's some worship scenes. But the students were part of that band that were playing. And not all of them were in the band, but my goodness, they were all there. And the worship was amazing. I felt it. It was like, wow, this is good. It's like over here. But I got to a point, and I'm going to read it so that way I don't mess it up or miss it. I was deeply moved to praise and pray with all my heart for the street team and to remember the chains God saved me from, to be in awe that God, in all his glory, would love me, to put myself back in the shoes of the people I wanted to reach, and in so doing, be ready to speak to that need. Samti, one of the high school students from Iglesia Ancla, overheard me praying and gave me a good long hug. He did one of these things too. He was like, rub, 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 right? And I was like, okay, I know what this is because of the Spanish culture. There's this thing called sana, sana, colita de rana. And it's a funny thing they say. It's like, oh, you had a boo-boo here, let me fix it. It's basically what it is. But it's like, it's right where my heart is, And he's like, okay, I have community here. And that strengthened me to be able to go out and share that, with whoever I met, to stop, sit down, and let people unload, let people talk to me, basically, and just spend time with everybody, whether it was church people or whether it was like just our team or whether it was everybody out on the street, you know. It was just one of those special moments. Hope I haven't rambled too much. Just wanted to leave you with that thought. It's beautiful. Go.
Oh, thank you so much, Josh. That was amazing. We now have the privilege of hearing from one of young adults like OGs. Like, she's one of the ones that has been here through thick and thin in the young adult community. Will you please welcome up Rebecca Philbrick? Woo woo!
Sorry. Ooh, my phone's gonna fall off. Anyway, hello, my name is Rebecca, if we have not met yet. And I am eternally grateful that I got to go to Tijuana to even begin with. I was fully funded months in advance. Praise the Lord. And although this is not my first missions trip, the Lord had instantly humbled me many different times, and I would like to share one of those times with you tonight. So a few days into our missions trip, we had gone to this migrant center, and we had gone to go speak and to talk with the people there and get to know them. And one person stood out to me, and his name was Caesar. And when Caesar was 19 years old, he was sentenced to life in prison for murder, and he had been in prison for 35 years, and an attorney had come up to him and wanted to take his case pro bono and felt he didn't deserve to be in prison anymore. And a few months ago, he had gotten out. But one of the things that Caesar did share with me that really punched me in the chest was that throughout all 35 years of his life in prison, no one had ever messed with him. No one ever beat him up or said anything mean to him or anything. And he told me that it was because that he believed that God had protected him throughout all 35 years. And that really just hit me, because as a young adult, sometimes, even though we're not in prison, we can feel like we're stuck, like we're stagnant, nothing's moving, and this guy's in actual prison, and I feel humbled. But the Lord had reminded me of a verse that I wanted to share with you while I was writing my notes down. And it is Psalm 23, 1-4. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. And even though this is probably not the most encouraging, you will be humbled on those trips, and even though you do not, or even though you will change lives of people, your life will also forever be changed. Thank you.
That was so good. I wasn't ready. Awesome. And last but not least, will you please welcome up Matt James? Come on up, Matt. Bring him home, buddy. Bring him home.
Wow. Well, good evening, everybody. It's really an honor to share this experience, this trip with you guys, and to, the group that we went with. God brought this team together for a reason. We all got along just the way God planned for it to. In some of the pictures up on the screen, one of the things that I did was we built a house for a family of 4 in 4 days, which I knew that I was going to go there. I knew that was going to be one of the activities to do, but it seemed like a really daunting task to build a house in 4 days. One of the days, our very first day in service, like out in the mission field, was working at a place called Padre Chava, which was a Catholic mission where they serve meals. And that day, we served 750 meals in just a couple of hours, which was really impressive. They give you one job to do, and you just stick to that task. And it all works perfectly. You don't have to deviate. They have it planned out really well. So I was really moved by that. I just thought, man, God has a way of feeding people, meeting people's basic needs in such a dignified, just a great way, just an efficient, dignified way. Now, these people could come in and they could have a meal, and if they wanted seconds, they could leave and they could go get back in line and they could come back and have seconds. And I mean, it was awesome. So it just made a really big impression, and I was thinking like the whole time, I mean, before I see this line of people outside the building and we're getting ready to start serving meals, and I'm just thinking, I'm nervous. And I'm thinking, how are we going to do this? And then I was thinking about like Jesus and his disciples looking at 5,000 people and only having 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish and thinking, how are we going to do this? And Jesus is the only one that's not sweating. Everybody else is. But he's in control. He has it. He has it all planned out. So that one particular thing made a big impact as I'm standing there and I'm watching and I'm sweating thinking, how is God going to move in this, and what's expected of me? Well, what's expected of me is not to sweat and just let God do the work. So the next day we kick off the house build. And before I'm kind of leading into this, but before I finish this story, I should say, and it's not going to make a whole lot of sense right now, but there's a number, and I don't know if like many of you like notice things in life like reoccurring patterns or like maybe how the Lord speaks to you in a unique way. But to me, I've seen over like 20 years of my life, there's a number that I see all the time, and that number is 648. 648. What does that mean? I don't know. It's a weird random number, but it happens all the time, and it's usually around some decision that I have to make or at some place I have to be. And so really in my own logical mind, I kind of have chalked it up to, well, it's 6:48. I'm at the right place at the right time. That's the way my brain thinks. So the first day of the house build, Rachel, my wife, she was at Padre Chava again serving meals, and I was starting this house build. And I mean, it was rough terrain getting to this house. I mean, it was 20 minutes outside of Tijuana, an extremely poor kind of village, you might call it. And all the houses there were just makeshift dwellings. I mean, it was just whatever scrap material they could find. And they built steps out of tires. Like there's an abundance of tires in Mexico. I don't know why, but there is, and they're really resourceful with tires. But the house, there was already 2 teams of missionaries that had been there. One team from Australia and one team from Europe. So their job on the house build, this was in the plans for a little while, but their job was to clear the area where the new house was going to be built. And the family was living in a dwelling, and you'll see it up on the screen, in a little dwelling adjacent to where the new house build was going to be. So the very first day, we're packing concrete. I mean, they have sand in one pile and rocks in the other pile, and we have like 5 buckets between 10 people. And our job is to mix up the concrete and carry them up these tire steps to the build site. And it was hard work. That's the foundation right there that we poured. That's the house that we built. and the start of it. That was like day 2. So we're working on pouring the foundation. This is the day we were pouring the foundation. That's the foundation right there. So as we're forming this up, this concrete form, my wife is serving meals at Padre Chava, this Catholic mission. And I'm curious, how many people are you guys feeding today? She says 648 people. Wow. What does that mean? Well, I was at the right place at the right time. So, even still, it hit, man, it just hits like no other, because God touches you in only a way that you can understand. Everybody else doesn't have to understand it, but He knows me. He knows the way my mind works. He created it. He knows my heart. And He knows that I would correlate that number to being at the right place at the right time. And His word even confirms that you're in the right place at the right time with that number, because I was encouraged to, well, Matt, if you don't know what that number means, maybe you should try to look it up. And I thought, and Pastor Gabe actually recommended this, and I was like, well, where would I even look? I mean, Google it? I mean, what? No, he said, no, don't know. Start with the Gospels. Why is that? Well, I mean, because they have more verses in each chapter. Well, that seems logical. Okay. So, I'm like, all right, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So we get back to the hotel, and I don't do this. I just we get busy, we have dinner, I'm tired from the day, and I don't look it up. Well, the next morning, we go to breakfast, and Pastor Gabe goes, did you look it up? And I was like, no, I didn't. And he goes, I did. Well, what did you find? He said, are you ready for the hair on the back of your neck to stand up? And I said, well, yeah, I guess. So he reads Luke 6:48. For he is like a man building a house who dug deep and laid the foundation on the rock. When the flood came, the house still stood. The wind and the rain and the floods of life, Jesus is saying, build the house on me. I am your foundation. And it's so true. It's so foundationally true. It is such a simple, fundamental, foundational truth. And from that one foundational truth of building your life, building your house on the foundation that is only found in Jesus, springs forth being missional, the Great Commission, to go out and make disciples of all the nations. That every knee would bow, every tongue would confess that Jesus Christ is Lord. And this family that we built this house for had suffered from generational poverty. I mean, it was not, oh, if I could just get a better job, or if I could elevate my skill set or something like that. It was just generational repression over and over and over again. They didn't even have a door to lock. They walked through a sheet to enter their house. And what we were able to do, being missional on this mission, going out and walking in step with Jesus, we were able to build this house. We were able to hang a locking door for this family. And what one little change like that does, it completely changes the trajectory of the next generation. And it was such a privilege to be a part of that. and for God to speak that truth into me or reveal that truth into me that I knew, but I just didn't have anything. I mean, I had God to connect it to, but I didn't have something in front of me to connect it to. But when I was on this mission, I could see every little thing that we did was effective change every single day. And why was that? Well, God was moving throughout all of it. I mean, his stroke is broad and wide because he's using the family of faith that have all built their house upon that foundation, which is the hope and redemption of Jesus Christ. So we could be at multiple places at multiple times serving the Lord and moving his kingdom forward all at the same time. So it's exciting going on a mission trip. And I hope this excites you. Going and serving with Iglesia Inca, they are on fire for the Lord. I mean, you get to start the pre-mission week. The week is called Love Week. You get to start that with a rally. And it is great worship. It's exciting. Serving alongside people that love Jesus is exciting. I mean, it's infectious. And it changes your life to the point where when you come back, your worship looks different. Your worship feels different. Your relationship with the Lord feels different. It feels deeper. It feels more tangible. So it's my prayer that you all just lean into that, pray about it, and I hope that I get to serve with each and every one of you, or at least a good handful of you next year, because we're going back. My goal is to work on my Spanish this year, and I will tell you this. You do get the opportunity to meet with people, to pray with people, to hear their testimony, to share yours. One of my pieces of advice would be if you go to Tijuana. This is my goal this year. I had opportunities to pray with people. I wish that I had been able to lead people through the prayer of salvation in their language. I feel like that is a really fundamental thing, a foundational thing that you should be able to do. Don't worry about it if you can't. It's not a deal breaker, because the fruits of the Spirit, they definitely transcend language barriers. Amen for that. They do. So yeah, that's my goal, and I hope this excites you and motivates you to want to do the same thing. And we'll see you out there in the mission field next year. Yeah.